All right, so today we're going to deep dive into something that I know a lot of you listeners are really interested in,
Okay.
and that is vegan cooking.
Yeah.
And we've got a fantastic guide here to help us along called the Delicious Vegan Cuisine Recipes and Healthy Snacks Guide.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does cover it all.
I was going to say.
I mean, from breakfast ideas to like those really fancy menus you need for special occasions, plus sauces, dips, even tips on meal prepping. Like,
Yeah, the works.
it's really the works.
Like you said, it really does cover it all.
It really does.
Everything from A to Z.
Yeah, and I'm actually curious, like, what kind of vegan cooking experience do you already have?
Yeah,
That's
a
per-
great place to start.
Yeah,
You know, knowing your familiarity with vegan cooking can help us tailor this exploration to your needs a little bit better.
totally.
So whether you're, a seasoned vegan chef
Right.
or you're just starting out,
Mm-hmm.
this guide has something for everyone.
Absolutely. And what I find really fascinating is that this guide doesn't just like throw recipes at you.
Right.
You know, it really kind of delves into the why behind things.
Mm-hmm.
For example, it highlights how swapping meat for plant-based protein can actually cut a meal's carbon footprint in half,
Yeah.
which I was like, wow.
What I find fascinating about that is that it's just such a great example of the ripple effect that our food choices have.
Yeah.
It's not just our own personal health,
Right.
it extends to the environment.
Totally.
This guide really emphasizes that connection
Mhm.
between what we eat
Yeah.
and the impact it has.
Yeah. Okay. So before we kind of get too far ahead of ourselves,
Okay.
let's talk a little bit about tools.
Right.
You know, if you're setting up a vegan kitchen,
Yeah.
what are the absolute must-haves?
Okay.
I'm going to guess a good blender is up there.
Oh, blender is key.
Yeah.
It's your go-to for creamy sauces and smoothies.
Mm.
Even things like cashew cheese
Oh,
you
wow.
can make in a blender.
I didn't know that.
So, but beyond those basics, I'm curious,
Yeah.
what are some tools that you found to be essential in your own vegan cooking journey?
Okay. So I never really thought of a food processor as a must-have, but this guide really sold me on it.
Okay.
Chopping veggies,
Yeah.
making doughs, whipping up, those really delicious dips.
It's a game changer.
It seems like a total game changer.
Yeah.
And speaking of game changers, the guide also mentions an air fryer.
Okay.
And I am all for crispy textures. But is it really that versatile for vegan cooking?
Mm.
I'm a little skeptical.
That's where the fun of exploration comes in.
Okay.
The air fryer really opens up a world of possibilities for healthy snacks. You can make crispy tofu, even roasted vegetables. It's all about just getting creative with it.
Right.
But, let's not forget the heart of any kitchen,
Yeah.
the pantry.
Mm-hmm.
What staples do you think every vegan pantry should have?
Well, this guide really hammered home the importance of nutritional yeast. It adds that like cheesy, savory flavor
Right.
that we sometimes miss when we're going plant-based.
Absolutely.
And of course, we can't forget the plant-based milks.
Of course not.
Almond, soy, oat milk. Like they're
Yeah.
essential.
Foundational.
Yeah.
I'm also a huge advocate for stocking up on legumes.
Okay.
Lentils, beans, chickpeas.
Mm-hmm.
They're protein powerhouses.
Yeah.
Incredibly versatile and can be used in so many ways.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite ways to incorporate legumes into your meals?
Oh.
I'm honestly still kind of exploring the world of legumes myself.
Sure.
Like this guide has so many interesting ideas.
Yeah.
I'm particularly intrigued by this idea of flax eggs in baking.
Uh,
It sounds almost magical.
Yeah, the science behind flax eggs is actually quite simple.
Oh, okay.
When ground flaxseed meal is mixed with water, it forms a gel,
Okay.
and that gel acts as a binder, mimicking the function of eggs in baking.
Wow.
It's a fantastic example of how resourceful vegan cooking can be.
Yeah. So speaking of resourcefulness, this guide has an entire section dedicated to breakfast ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always struggling to get a quick and nutritious vegan breakfast on the table.
Right.
Any standouts from the guide that you've kind of made part of your regular routine?
The emphasis on prepping ahead of time is a lifesaver.
Okay.
Overnight oats are a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
They're so easy to throw together the night before,
Mhm.
and you can get really creative with different toppings.
Okay.
Have you experimented with overnight oats at all?
I haven't.
Okay.
I tend to kind of lean towards savory breakfasts,
Okay.
but I am intrigued by the idea of pre-made breakfast cookies or muffins.
Right.
Is that something you've tried?
Breakfast cookies are a great way to sneak in some extra nutrients,
Mm-hmm.
especially for people who are always on the go.
Right.
But tell me, what are some of your favorite savory vegan breakfast options?
Ooh. Um, I love a good tofu scramble
Okay.
with veggies.
Yeah.
You know, it's quick, it's protein-packed.
Super customizable.
Absolutely.
This guide also has a recipe for chickpea flour omelets that I've been meaning to try.
Interesting.
Yeah, speaking of protein,
Yeah.
I think that's like a common concern for
Sure.
people considering a vegan diet.
Of course.
You know, is it really possible to get enough protein without meat?
That's a myth we need to debunk right away.
Okay.
This guide does an excellent job of showcasing the abundance of plant-based protein sources that are available.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking lentils, beans, tofu tempeh seitan,
Right.
even quinoa,
Right.
all packed with protein.
Wow.
It's all about incorporating them strategically into your meals
Yeah.
and making sure that you're getting enough throughout the day.
Okay.
But it's definitely doable
Oh.
and delicious.
That's what I like to hear. So, you know, I think a lot of people, when they picture vegan lunches, they think salad again.
Right.
But this guide proves that's just not true.
Yeah.
There are so many options.
What are some of the more creative lunch ideas that kind of stood out to you? I'm thinking something I could easily take to work.
Okay, well, it's amazing how many delicious and portable vegan lunch options there really are.
Right.
You know, chickpea salad sandwiches are a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
And the guide offers some really interesting twists on that traditional recipe.
Oh, like what?
Well, have you ever tried using avocado instead of mayo
Ooh.
for like
Oh.
a creamier texture?
I haven't, but that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I also love the idea of veggie-packed wraps.
Mhm.
You know, they're so versatile. You can use whatever veggies you have on hand,
Right.
add some hummus or a tahini dressing,
Yeah.
and you've got a satisfying and nutritious lunch.
Absolutely.
But what about those days when you just don't have time to pack a lunch?
Those days are inevitable,
Yeah.
even for the most organized meal preppers.
Right.
But, you know, there are strategies for those situations, too.
Okay.
The guide suggests keeping a few emergency snacks on hand. Things like nuts and seeds or even pre-portioned hummus and veggie sticks.
Okay.
It's all about being prepared
Right.
for those moments when life throws you a curveball.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
Just having those like backup options, you know?
Yeah.
So you don't fall into the trap of grabbing something unhealthy just because you're in a hurry.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of those backup options, let's talk main courses.
Okay.
This guide has some really impressive recipes,
Yeah, it does.
like lentil loaf, mushroom bourguignon.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think those types of dishes are really practical for like everyday cooking, though?
I think it really depends on, you know, your lifestyle and how much time you have
Mm.
to dedicate to cooking.
Right.
Some of the more elaborate recipes in the guide are definitely better suited for special occasions or when you have, you know, more time to experiment in the kitchen.
Right.
But there are plenty of simple and satisfying main course options
Yes.
that are perfect for weeknight meals.
Okay. What are some of your like go-to vegan dinners?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I mean,
You know, I'm a big fan of one-pot meals.
okay.
Things like lentil stews or curries where you
Hmm.
just throw everything in a pot and let it simmer.
Yeah.
They're so easy,
Yeah.
flavorful,
Totally.
but I'm always looking for new ideas.
Yeah. What are some of the main course recipes from the guide that you've been kind of wanting to try?
Okay, well, there's a recipe for a vegan shepherd's pie that caught my eye.
Okay.
It uses lentils and mushrooms for the filling
Okay.
and a mashed sweet potato topping.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It sounds so comforting and perfect for like a cozy night in,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, totally. You know, one thing I really appreciate about this guide is that it doesn't shy away from like those traditionally comfort food dishes.
Right.
It shows that you can still enjoy those familiar flavors and textures
Absolutely.
without relying on animal products.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes you just need a snack.
Oh, of course.
And not just any snack.
Right.
Something that satisfies that like crunchy, salty craving.
That's a good one.
What does this guide have to offer
Oh,
in that department?
this is where it gets really fun.
Okay.
The guide has a whole section dedicated to snacks.
Okay.
And they're not just, you know, your typical carrot sticks and hummus.
Yeah.
We're talking air-fried chickpeas, spiced nuts, even homemade kale chips.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever experimented with making your own snacks?
I've tried my hand at roasted chickpeas,
Okay.
but I haven't really ventured much beyond that.
Okay.
What are some of your favorite, like, homemade snack recipes?
Oh my gosh, so many.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been loving sweet potato toast,
Okay.
topped with avocado and everything bagel seasoning.
Interesting.
It's a great way to satisfy that crunchy, savory craving,
Right.
but also get some extra nutrients in there.
Okay.
The guide also has a recipe for baked plantain chips. That sounds amazing.
Ooh, those are going on my list to
Yeah.
try. Okay, but we can't forget about dessert.
Oh,
This guide really proves that going vegan doesn't mean giving up on your sweet tooth.
absolutely not.
What are some of the dessert recipes that really stood out to you?
Well, I'm always a sucker for chocolate.
Yeah.
So the chocolate avocado mousse definitely caught my attention.
Okay.
It sounds rich, decadent,
Mm-hmm.
and surprisingly healthy.
Interesting. Have you ever tried using avocado in desserts?
Oh, it's a game changer.
Is it really?
You can hardly taste the avocado at all.
Okay.
It just adds this creamy, rich texture that's perfect for mousses, puddings, even ice cream.
Wow.
The guide also has a recipe for banana nice cream,
Okay.
which is essentially just frozen bananas blended until smooth.
Okay.
It's a super simple, healthy, and delicious alternative to traditional ice cream.
I am intrigued. Okay, so it seems like there's a vegan solution for every craving.
It really does seem that way.
But let's back up a bit and talk about sauces.
All right.
They can really make or break a dish.
Oh, they absolutely can.
What are some of those like essential vegan sauces and dips that this guide highlights?
Well, cashew cream is incredibly versatile.
Okay.
You can use it as a base for creamy sauces,
Mhm.
a topping for desserts,
Oh, wow.
or even a dip.
Interesting. Have you ever made your own cashew cream?
I have, and it's surprisingly easy.
Okay, I'm definitely going to have to try that. What other sauces do you think are kind of essential for a well-stocked vegan kitchen?
Well, tahini dressing is a must-have
Yep.
for salads and bootables.
Yeah.
The guide also has some great recipes for homemade pesto,
Mhm.
salsa, and even vegan cheese sauce.
Interesting.
You can really get creative and experiment with different flavor combinations.
I love that. Okay, so let's talk about those times when, we want to get a little bit fancy.
Okay.
The guide has an entire section on special occasion menus.
It does.
What are some of the key things to keep in mind when planning a vegan menu for a special event?
Well, I think the guide really stresses the importance of offering a variety of dishes
Mm-hmm.
to appeal to different palates.
Right. You want to make sure there's something for everyone, even those who might not be familiar with vegan cuisine.
Right. What are some of your go-to dishes for impressing non-vegan guests?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I think a well-executed lentil loaf
Okay.
can really wow people.
Yeah.
It's hearty, flavorful,
Mm-hmm.
and can be dressed up with a delicious gravy.
Right. I also love making really colorful salads with seasonal ingredients.
Yeah.
They're visually appealing and a great way to kind of showcase the freshness
Cool.
of plant-based cuisine.
Totally agree.
But I'm curious, what about those more challenging dishes,
Okay.
like vegan cheese?
Yeah.
Is it really possible to make a convincing vegan cheese at home?
The guide has a few recipes
Yeah.
for vegan cheese sauces and spreads
Okay.
that use nuts, nutritional yeast, and other plant-based ingredients
Mhm.
to create that cheesy flavor and texture.
Okay.
They might not be exact replicas of traditional cheese,
Right.
but they can be incredibly delicious in their own right. Okay, so it seems like there's a vegan solution for just about everything.
There really does.
But with all this talk of delicious food, let's not forget about the practical side of things.
Okay.
We touched on meal prep a little bit earlier, but I'd love to dive a bit deeper.
Right.
The guide mentions the importance of batch cooking.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the specific things you recommend batch cooking put for like a week of vegan meals?
Okay. Well, grains like quinoa and rice are great for batch cooking.
Okay.
They're versatile,
Yeah.
can be used in so many different dishes.
Right.
The guide also suggests cooking a big batch of lentils or beans at the beginning of the week.
Okay.
You can use them in salads, soups, stews, or even as a base for veggie burgers.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
But how do you keep all those prepped ingredients like organized and fresh throughout the week?
Okay.
I'm a little bit of a meal prep novice, so any tips would be greatly appreciated.
Well, that's where airtight containers come in.
Okay.
They're essential for keeping your prepped ingredients fresh and organized.
That-
The guide also recommends labeling everything really clearly,
Okay.
so you know what you have.
Throughout the week.
Okay.
I'm a little bit of a meal prep novice, so any tips would be greatly appreciated.
Well, that's where airtight containers come in.
Okay.
They're essential for keeping your prepped ingredients fresh and organized.
That-
The guide also recommends labeling everything really clearly,
Okay.
so you know what you have and when it was made.
Okay.
It's all about setting yourself up for success.
Right.
What are some of the challenges you faced with meal prep in the past?
Honestly, my biggest challenge is finding the time to do it.
Sure.
Life gets busy,
Yeah.
and sometimes meal prep just falls by the wayside.
It happens.
But I'm realizing that even just like small steps can make a big difference.
Absolutely.
Maybe dedicating just an hour or two on the weekend to some basic prep work could save a lot of time and stress during the week.
It could, definitely. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing approach.
Right.
Even just prepping a few key ingredients or planning out your meals for the week
Okay.
can make a huge difference.
Okay, cool. This guide also emphasizes the importance of being flexible
Yeah,
and adapting your meal prep routine to your own lifestyle.
absolutely.
It's about finding what works for you
Right.
and making gradual changes that you can sustain over time. Okay, that's such a great reminder.
Yeah.
Okay, so this guide has really opened my eyes to the possibilities of vegan cooking and meal prep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling very inspired and motivated to experiment in the kitchen.
I love that.
But before we wrap up this section, I think it's important to kind of touch on the topic of nutrition.
Okay.
We've talked about the abundance of plant-based protein sources.
Right.
But what about other essential nutrients?
Yeah.
Are there any specific nutrients that vegans need to pay extra attention to?
That's a great question, and the guide does address that concern.
Okay.
There are a few key nutrients that can be a bit trickier to get on a vegan diet,
Okay.
particularly vitamin B12, iron, and omega-3 fatty acids.
Okay.
But with a little planning and awareness, it's definitely possible to get all the nutrients you need from plant-based sources.
Okay, so what are some practical tips for ensuring that we're getting enough of those nutrients?
Okay.
I'm all ears. So we were talking about how to make sure we're getting those key nutrients
Sure.
on a vegan diet. It's
Yeah.
like vitamin B12, iron,
Yeah.
omega-3 fatty acids.
All the good stuff.
Yeah. So where do we even start with that?
Well, first off, I think it's important to remember that variety is key.
Okay.
Just like with any healthy diet, eating a wide range of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds ensures that you're getting a broad spectrum of nutrients.
Right.
This is going to help support overall health and well-being,
Okay.
and it can even help reduce the risk of chronic diseases.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any shifts in your own, overall health since incorporating more plant-based meals into your routine?
I actually have. I've been feeling more energized,
Okay.
and my digestion has definitely improved.
Interesting. Okay, so are there specific plant-based sources
Yeah,
that are particularly high in those nutrients we mentioned?
absolutely.
Okay.
For vitamin B12, fortified plant milks,
Okay.
nutritional yeast, and some breakfast cereals are good sources.
Okay.
For iron, lentils, spinach, tofu, and chickpeas are all excellent options. Okay.
And for omega-3 fatty acids, you can incorporate things like flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts into your diet.
Okay.
The guide provides a really comprehensive list of nutrient-rich plant-based foods,
Right.
which I think is super valuable.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it sounds like a well-planned vegan diet can definitely meet all your nutritional needs.
Absolutely.
But what about those times when, life gets busy
Yeah.
and we don't have a ton of time to cook elaborate meals?
Right.
Does this guide offer any tips for kind of staying on track
It does.
with a vegan diet when you're short on time?
It really emphasizes the importance of having some quick and easy vegan meal ideas
Okay.
in your back pocket.
Like what?
Things like smoothies,
Okay.
salads, or even veggie wraps can be thrown together in minutes.
Yeah.
The guide also suggests keeping a stash of ready-to-eat vegan meals in the freezer for those extra busy days.
That's smart. What are some of your go-to, quick and easy vegan meals?
Ooh, good question. For those nights when you just don't have a lot of time.
Honestly, I love a good Buddha bowl.
Okay.
I always have some pre-cooked quinoa or rice in the fridge.
Right.
And then I just add whatever veggies, beans, or tofu I have on hand.
Good.
It's so simple, but it always hits the spot.
Nice. So we've talked a lot about the nutritional and practical aspects of veganism.
Yeah.
But what about the emotional and social aspects?
Okay.
How do you think adopting a vegan lifestyle can kind of impact those areas of someone's life?
That's a really insightful question.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, going vegan can be a deeply personal and even spiritual journey. It's a way of aligning their actions with their values and beliefs
Right.
about animal welfare, environmental sustainability, and their own personal health.
Yeah.
And this can lead to a profound sense of purpose and fulfillment.
That makes sense. Have you noticed any shifts in your own perspective or worldview since kind of exploring veganism?
I have. I'm definitely more aware of the impact that my food choices have on the world around me.
Right.
And I found a real sense of community,
Yeah.
connecting with other people who share similar values.
Yeah.
It's been an unexpected but really welcome side effect.
I love that. So it's amazing how food can have such a powerful ripple effect.
It really
You know,
is.
it can connect us to others, spark conversations, and even inspire like positive change.
I couldn't agree more.
So this guy does a great job of not just focusing on like the recipes
Right.
and the technical aspects,
Yeah,
but also kind of the broader lifestyle and philosophy behind it.
it does.
Yeah. But for someone who's like brand new to veganism,
Mm-hmm.
it can feel a little bit overwhelming.
Right.
What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out?
Okay. Well, I would say start small
Okay.
and be kind to yourself.
Right.
Don't try to change everything overnight.
Hmm.
Experiment with new recipes. Find what you enjoy.
Yeah.
And gradually incorporate more plant-based meals into your routine. There's a wealth of resources available online and in your local community.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to reach out for support and connect with others who are on a similar path.
Yeah, that's great advice. It's about progress, not perfection.
Absolutely.
And remember, every step you take toward a more plant-based lifestyle is a step in the right direction.
Well said.
So this deep dive has been incredibly insightful. I've learned so much about, the practicalities of vegan cooking, the nutritional considerations, and just kind of the broader impact
Right.
of embracing a plant-based lifestyle.
It's a holistic approach.
Okay. So what are your final thoughts as we wrap up this exploration?
It's been a pleasure to kind of delve into the world of vegan cuisine with you today.
Yeah,
It's such a vibrant and ever-evolving culinary landscape
it really is.
with something to offer everyone.
Yeah, and for anyone listening who's curious about exploring veganism, I encourage you to approach it with an open mind and a sense of adventure. You might be surprised at how delicious, fulfilling, and transformative this journey can be.
Absolutely. Bon appetit and happy cooking.
Until next time.